Hi, y'all. Thanks so much for coming. So I am the program director for Big Medium, and I'll give you a little bit of information about us. So I'm going to be presenting the three-step process to be a successful participant on the East and West Austin Studio Tour. First, how you apply, then once you're in, how to promote and bring people to your space, and then finally, once people are at your space, how to engage and build connections with those people. Oh, wait, how do I? Okay, so a little bit of background about Big Medium. We're a nonprofit organization dedicated to championing and cultivating artists and contemporary arts across Austin and Texas. We're basically here to provide platforms and foster connections with artists and their surrounding communities. And that's how East and West started. So East and West Austin Studio Tours were, sorry, I'm like trying to connect these two. It's a 2-weekend event. I'm sure most of you are familiar with East, which happens in November every year, and then West, which happens in May in the spring every year. It's an opportunity to meet the makers, the local artists that make Austin unique, and bring the public into those special spaces that you can never see throughout the year. So the background behind how East and West started, it was founded by 3 local artists, Shay Little, Janice Weck, and Joseph Phillips, and they're in a collaborative called Sodalitas. So in 2002, they moved into a warehouse space called Bohm Studios, which if you've been on East before, you've probably been to Bohm Studios. And so it's just this warehouse space. You can see the picture right here of Jana, Joseph, and Shay. They had just graduated from school in New York and moved back to Austin, and they were trying to make this space and discovered they found themselves in dialogue with their creative community surrounding them, that there were all these artists in East Austin that had moved there because of the affordability of the area. So they decided that they wanted to connect their communities and help support the creative practice that they were pursuing so that they could make careers as artists. So they opened up their doors one November, and with 20 artists, people started flooding in, and now this past year in 2016, we had over 500 artists. So it really has exploded because of the support of the city and artists being dedicated to bring people in and opening up their spaces. So then 10 years after East was founded, we started West to provide a broader exhibition opportunity to all the artists in Austin to bring more people in. And so now together, the 2 tours form a comprehensive overview of Austin's creative sector. So you want to be a part of the tour. There's an application. How do you apply? There's key requirements that I'm going to go over. It's about a 10-step process for the application. But the 3 main things are, first, you need to have a space within the boundaries. Our boundaries are pretty broad. For East, it's east of 35, west of 183, south of 290, and north of Riverside Drive. We recently expanded to Riverside Drive to go further south to bring in more people below the river. It used to just end at the river. And then West is a little bit bigger, more narrow, and a larger geographic area. And it's west of 35, east of Mopac, south of 183, and north of William Cannon. We also went further south as well to try to bring in more people, because we're discovering that people are moving further north and further south in Austin to find that affordability. So the other thing you need is an artist statement. The artist statement for East and West is a little bit different than your standard artist statement because it does need to be condensed for the catalog. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. You'll need 3 images of, oh gosh, I'm on the wrong slide. Sorry, y'all. This is not lining up. Okay. And so now you can see all the stuff I was just talking about. You need the images, 3 images of current artwork that you're going to be showing during the tour. And then there is a $175 participation fee. It's $150 if you apply within the first week. And that participation fee covers the materials and the promotion and your involvement in the tour. Okay, so there are several categories. There are 4 categories to be involved in East and West. It's artist studios, galleries, temporary exhibition, and happenings. So before you come on the tour, you need to establish what you're going to be a part of. Artist studios is obviously the largest. In each of these categories has different criteria to be involved, so you need to understand what you need to be aware of. So Artist Studios is the most open, has the least restriction for acceptance. Basically, if you're making art in a space, in a workspace in Austin, within the boundaries, we want to support you. So we want you involved in the tour, no matter what level you're at. It's a community-oriented event, so we want to support the artists that are making work in our city. But it is reserved exclusively for spaces where artists are creating their art. So we want to see process, we want to see tools, we want to see techniques. So it can include home studios, larger studio complexes, or standalone commercial studios. We also allow guest artists to join the Artist Studios category. We've seen a lot of people moving to different areas that are not inside the boundaries, but we want to be inclusive to people that are making art in Austin. So people are able to join as guests of Artist Studios. There are a few rules though. You have to make the arrangements beforehand. Big Medium does not find the studios for the guest artists, so it's on you to find those spaces. But we do, if you contact us, we're pretty open. We want to help you if we can. If we're aware of a space that's looking for people, we can connect you. We have kind of our best resources. We have this Google group, which is our platform for connecting artists digitally. Oh, and also there's only 6 artists, guest artists, that are allowed on the tour. Oh, another thing with the separate application. So it says you must complete your own separate application. That's if you want to be officially a part of the tour. You don't actually have to complete it if you don't want to. So we allow kind of people to fly under the radar if they aren't able to afford it. But we encourage you to participate. If the participation fee is restricting you from participating, we also provide fellowships. Last year we provided over $10,000 worth of fellowships, scholarships to artists in order for them to participate and have this platform. So that is good to know.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey. So galleries is another category. It's pretty straightforward, but galleries are also something good to look at if you're not within the boundaries, to contact and reach out to the galleries that are showing work in Austin way ahead of time to see if they would consider exhibiting your work during the tour. Temporary exhibitions. This is kind of a fun category that we allow that includes all sorts of unconventional venues, site-specific installations, pop-up shows, exhibitions in warehouse spaces, empty homes, etc. The empty homes, we had a woman who was moving back to Spain, and she was like, we're clearing the whole house out. I just want to use it as a venue for artists. So she had like 10 artists show in her space, and people were using closets, and people were using the living room, and kind of inspired by like what those spaces usually mean in a home. So like using the kitchen, and it was really special and unique. In the picture you can see this was a Tempo project. It was in Boggy Creek Park, I believe. It was these huge spheres that you could kind of explore and go through, and they changed formation and went to different parks. So that was kind of a unique temporary exhibition. Warehouse spaces are really popular on the east side as well. We want to encourage you, like artists, to just show wherever you can. Yeah. Happenings. This is another kind of unique category which allows events to happen. They can include one-day exhibitions. So if you just want to do an opening reception, like a one-day show, you can have a happening. Art competitions, performances, educational programming, and other activities. Jaime does, Eyes Got It, which is a happening that is an art competition. It's kind of like American Idol for art, and they have a panel that review artists, and that's been a part of the tour for years. So yeah, anything that's time-based, it does have to be within 24 hours, just so it's more of like an actual happening. But that's if you want to do an event that's open to you. Artist statement. So like I said earlier, the artist statement for the tour is a little bit different. It's not as formal. While you can have a more formal artist statement that you condense, I like the ones that are a little bit more playful and creative. So I grabbed a few examples that kind of stood out to me because I look at hundreds of these, and also you're in a book with 500 other artists, so you want to stand out. Jana, who's one of the founders of the tour, She has one of my favorites. It's I paint to keep my body fresh and my mind fresh and my body dirty, which is just really simple and sweet and cute. And last year hers was like, I make more soup than I make art, 'cause talking about family and yeah. And then Stella is a West artist, and she just had a quote which stood out to me. Kind of letting the work speak more for itself. Yeah, and then Aaron's is very descriptive, gets to the point, lets you know exactly what he does. I felt like that was effective too. Images. So a lot of artists, when they apply, struggle with editing their images and presenting their work in the best way. We're looking for 3 images of current work that you're going to be showing. So you do need to have all of the work ready and edited and ready to go months before the exhibition. So for East, the application is from July to August. For West, it's January to February. So just to be aware that you have to have everything ready to go ahead of time. They do need to be print quality, so you need good photography, and horizontal image maximizes your space better. So you can kind of see on here that a vertical image is going to be a little bit smaller in the catalog. This is going to maximize your space more. 3:2, I think, is the ratio that is the best ratio for maximizing the space in the specific listing. So things we say are no distracting backgrounds. So try to keep it right on the frame of the piece and crop it in the way that this image is. Don't take pictures of framed artwork that can cast a shadow, or unaligned pieces that warp the image. This is all very straightforward photography stuff, but sometimes it's things that people don't think about, to not take a picture of your work when it's framed. Also, not to collage images. We need just one image. So if you're showing with a group, you need to select one image that represents the entire group. Distracting backgrounds, there was one artist that applied that they had this little dog in the background that was making the most ridiculous face. It was so distracting, and it always sticks out in my head as an example of I can't see the artwork, I'm just looking at the dog. Also, poor lighting is a huge thing. It really distorts your artwork if you don't have great lighting. So what I recommend to people is to take an image outside in natural lighting, but also do it in the shade. Don't do it in stark daylight. So once you're on the tour, how do you promote yourself and bring people to your space? Big Medium provides a platform, but we are reliant on the artists that are on the tour to promote themselves and bring people to their space. It's a collective effort. It's been successful because of the community effort. So Big Medium does provide and equip artists with certain tools. Some of these tools include a graphics package, catalogs, signs, an artist social, and is an event that we do, as well as the group exhibition, which you can see in this picture. So the graphics package, for each tour we produce a promotional package of graphics that relate to that cycle's design theme. Each year we do a specific design theme that's inspired by current events or whatever we're kind of thinking about at that time. For example, this one, the stripes you can see, was inspired by, what did John do? It was, we did a community painting project, and we took the colors from that project, we zoomed in and then stretched them out. So it was all colors from the community, and then it was also a grid. Last year was inspired by the Pentagon because it was the 5th year of West and the 15th year of East. So we took the Pentagon and expanded it and warped it in different ways. And then this year is the 16th year. We're inspired more by the current climate culturally and are focusing on native flowering plants because we want to bring peace and hope. So it's kind of fun for the artist to have that package that has this unique design that changes every year to identify yourself and promote your participation in the tour. Up here you can see this is a profile picture that we make for Facebook that'll have your specific tour number on it. On the map you can see that, obviously y'all probably know that each participant has a tour number that is mapped geographically. So from north to south we go from 1 to 500 and whatever. So that's kind of how you identify yourself on the door. How do you promote yourself and bring people to your space? We also produce a Facebook cover photo, which is the stripes, a digital version of your sign, and a tour map. So those are all things, the logo as well, that you can either create flyers with, you can put all over social media to just create energy around the tour, which we all contribute to. The catalog. So the catalogs are incredibly popular objects that we produce. We print 7,000 of them and distribute them through our partnership with the Austin Public Library. So through all 23 branches of the Austin Public Library, we give them out for free. So we also give catalogs to key patrons, hotel concierges, and attendees of our kickoff event. We want to get them to the hotels because we want to bring in tourists that are coming to the city to make them aware of the event that's going on. And as well as attendees of the kickoff event, we have over 500 artists and community members that come to this event. So to get the catalog in their hand and help them navigate the tour. They also serve as kind of this collector's item that it can sit on your coffee table and serve as an excellent reference for all of the artists that are making work in the city at that time. So it's a great resource to be in the book as a reference for people that are looking for who's making artwork in Austin. The signs. So we produce these signs. Each artist gets one sign, but they're also able to order extra signs. But in the graphics package, like I said, we also give you the file so you can produce as many of these with our design as you want. Some of the ones that I included here, so this is your standard sign. I like it when artists get creative with it. This is Manik Nakra, and every year he like draws on his sign, does something ridiculous. His artwork is kind of jungle Indian inspired. So he has this like machete going through the sign, and it says like badass jungle art and dangerous, and it's funny. This group right here, this is Warbach Lighting and Design. They're on East, and every year they do a different giant painted projected sign. So they project on the wall and they hand paint it based on the design that we've done that year. And they're right on 7th Street. So you can see it from the street, it's huge. It really brings people in. And so we encourage you to do something creative like that. The Artist Social. So the Artist Social is something that we started more recently with East and West as an orientation for everyone that's on the tour to come and get together and meet each other. It's a great opportunity for the artists on the tour to meet their neighbors. We say it's really important for the people on the tour to know who's surrounding them. It's also the time when they get their maps and catalogs and signs. So they can say like, oh, I'm number 250 and you're number 251. Like, let's get to know each other and help promote each other. And just also to like, a big part of the tour is connecting artists and making them aware of the other artists in their city. So it's a fun, informal hangout, gathering, and orientation. The group exhibition. So you've seen a few other pictures of the group exhibition. It's our way of condensing the entire tour into one space because the tour is so massive and expansive on so many different locations. We're trying to make it easier for the public to understand who's on the tour. So we make this group exhibition in one space that usually includes over 300 artists that are on the tour that participate with one small 12 by 12 piece. It's open to 3D pieces as well, up to 12 by 12 by 12 inches. So it's a great way to expand and extend your presence on the tour because we're bringing in so many audience members to that space specifically. We promote it as the starting point of the tour. So you go there first and then you can see in person the work that's being made by the artists on the tour. Because you can look in the catalog and you can see like, I think I like this work, but seeing it in person, seeing the texture and seeing the details of the piece really helps inform decisions of if they're gonna go see your studio. So we highly recommend that you participate in the group show, but not only that, but to present a new piece, a current work that represents the work that you're gonna be showing back at your studio.
So just a question on the group exhibition.
Yeah.
So we are having a fairly large group exhibition for West. So, and all the artist names are listed in the catalog. So can each artist actually have a piece?
Yes.
Like due West?
Yes.
Oh.
So-
I guess I'll be that.
So it's open to
Okay,
everyone
cool.
that's on the tour. We're inviting, my hope is to have every single artist on the tour. It hasn't happened yet, but we've gotten close. It is hard because a lot of artists don't make work in a medium, or they just don't in a scale that works with the show, because it does have to be 12 by 12 by 12 in order to incorporate everyone. So we're trying to explore other ways to involve other artists. Like furniture makers have always struggled with being a part of the group exhibition and representing themselves in that way. So actually one year they did make like a tiny chest, like a little woodworking chest, and put it on a pedestal, which was hilarious and awesome. But ways we're thinking about incorporating them is having them like make the tables that we eat food on or sit at during the group exhibition and during the opening, and put a little label on their work as well to include them. And yeah, like you can see, I guess you can't see, but there's labels next to each piece that has the tour number of the artist. So and we're providing maps and catalogs at the space. So you go through with your catalog, and you look at the number and you see it in the book and you mark it, and that's how you know where to go. So that's probably one of the best resources we provide for the artists to represent themselves in person. Engagement. So once you've promoted yourself and everyone's excited about your space and they want to come and they're in your space, how do you keep them there and how do you engage with them and connect and build that relationship? So one of the, like I said with the signs, those are hugely important. We've found that artists that put signage on major roads and then lead signs back to their specific space really brings in a lot more traffic, just with the surrounding neighborhood. And it seems really obvious, but also like playing music, providing food, providing drinks, like those little things go a long way. And while you're not required to do it, it does create that community vibe, and it makes people want to like linger and stay around and get to know you and maybe spend some more time with your artwork. Because it's a hard thing to go into someone's home, and it maybe is uncomfortable for some people rather than others, but it takes a lot. I'm always so honored when people go to this space, because it takes a lot to venture out and go into this foreign space and talk to someone you don't know. So yeah, we try to make it as easy for them as possible to engage with the artwork. Do demonstrations or have interactive activities. So Shay and Jana, when they first started the tour, they would just sit and paint and have people come into their space, and they were being productive and working in their space, but also like highlighting it as a working space and showing and educating the audience on like what their practice looks like and how do they complete their work. So it's very engaging, and it also is like an easy gateway to like start conversation. It's like, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you using that material? Why are you using that tool? Yeah. Also become familiar with your neighbors and recommend tour goers to go see them next. I kind of mentioned that earlier with the artist social, that that's the opportunity to get to know your neighbors, so that when the tour comes, you can be like, oh, I know Stella Lessie right down the street. She's amazing. You have to go see her work. This is what it looks like. This is the technique. I think you would really like it if you like my work. So just know people that you would personally recommend other artists go see. And it helps the tour goers a lot, because they'll pick like one or two, but then they don't know where to go next. And they don't even realize that there's someone like right around the corner from them. So we really are relying a lot on the artists to like educate the public, because it is such a massive event, to guide these people that want to engage with art, and you assisting them getting to those spaces. Also have a mailing list. That's something people don't think about, but to just have a record of who came to your space, and then be able to reach out to them afterwards. Defining success. This is something we always tell the artists on the tour, that we preface it with, that the tour started because they wanted to build connections with the people in their community. So they wanted to get to know the artists that were surrounding them better, and they wanted to further their artistic practice by bringing in the public and getting those feedback and connections with the people in the public that didn't even know that they were making art in their neighborhood. So it's founded on collaboration and continues to thrive because of the collective effort of everyone involved, doing their best to support each other. So it really is about the collective energy of making this event a success, and we consider it like a family, and we're all in it together. And we have seen so much success with bringing in 30,000 people because of this collective effort for East, and then 20,000 for West. So, yeah, that's all I have right now. So